the 3 stages of healing after a breakup, and where you are right now. If you're watching this right now, there's a good chance your heart is hurting. Maybe it's been days, maybe it's been months, but the pain is still there, and you're wondering, when does this get easier? Here's what I want you to know. Healing isn't linear. It doesn't follow a schedule, but it does follow a pattern. And understanding where you are in that pattern changes everything. I'm Elmarie, and welcome to Haven Space. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 stages of healing after a breakup. Not to put you in a box, but to give you a map. Because when you're in the middle of heartbreak, it can feel like you're lost in the dark with no sense of direction. And here's the thing about these stages. They're not perfectly separate. You might visit stage 1 on a Tuesday morning and find yourself in stage 3 by evening. You might spend weeks in stage 2 and then wake up back in stage 1 because you heard a song or passed a familiar place. That's not failure. That's healing. So let's talk about what each stage looks like, what it feels like, and most importantly, what you need in each one. Because wherever you are right now, you're exactly where you need to be. Stage 1 is what I call survival mode. This is the raw, immediate aftermath. Your nervous system is in shock. Your brain is trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense yet. In this stage, you might feel numb one moment, overwhelmed the next. Like you can't eat, or like you can't stop eating. Physically exhausted, even though you haven't done anything. Obsessive thoughts about what happened, what you could have done differently. You might find yourself checking their social media at 2 a.m., rereading old messages, playing conversations over and over in your mind like you're searching for a different ending. And here's what I need you to hear. This is not weakness. This is your brain trying to process a significant loss. Because that's what a breakup is. It's grief. You're grieving a future you thought you'd have. You're grieving the version of yourself that existed in that relationship. What you need in stage 1. First, basics. And I mean the absolute basics. Are you drinking water? Are you eating something? Anything? Are you sleeping or at least resting? This isn't the time for green smoothies and morning runs unless those things genuinely comfort you. This is the time for survival. Permission to order takeout. Permission to watch comfort shows. Permission to call that friend at midnight. Second, please stop trying to make sense of it all right now. Your brain wants answers. It wants to understand. But in stage 1, you're not trying to understand. You're trying to survive. The understanding comes later. Third, no major decisions. Don't quit your job. Don't move cities. Don't text them at 3 a.m. Not because those things might not eventually be right, but because right now you're not making decisions from clarity. You're making them from pain. Stage 1 is about getting through today. Just today. That's enough. How long does stage 1 last? For most people, the intensity of stage 1 lasts anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. But here's the truth. You'll probably revisit it. A song, a smell, an anniversary. These things can pull you back, and that's okay. Each time you go through it, you get a little stronger. Stage 2 is what I call the messy middle, and it's called that for a reason, because it's messy, and it feels like it lasts forever. This is where you start having good days. You wake up and realize you didn't think about them for the first hour. You laugh at something genuinely funny. You make plans for next week. And then something small happens. You see a couple holding hands, or you find their forgotten sweater in your closet, and you're right back in the pain. Welcome to the messy middle. What this stage looks like. The crying comes in waves now instead of being constant. Some days you feel angry. Some days you feel relieved. Some days you genuinely think you're over it. And then some days you're convinced you'll never be okay again. You might start to feel frustrated with yourself. Why am I not over this yet? It's been 3 months, 6 months. Why do I still care? Here's why. Because healing doesn't follow your timeline, and it definitely doesn't follow what you see on social media. Someone else's 3-week healing journey says nothing about yours. In stage 2, you're rebuilding, and rebuilding always looks messy before it looks beautiful. What you need in stage 2. First, routine. Not rigidity, but rhythm. What does a normal day look like for you now? Start creating that. Not because everything needs to be perfect, but because structure helps your nervous system feel safe. Second, honest reflection. Not obsessive analysis, but genuine questions. What did that relationship teach you about what you want, what you don't want? What patterns showed up that you've seen before? This isn't about blame, not blaming them, not blaming yourself. It's about learning. Third, reconnection. With yourself, yes, but also with your people. The friends you maybe pulled away from during the relationship, the hobbies you stopped doing, the version of yourself that existed before this relationship and still exists now. You're not trying to get back to who you were. You're discovering who you're becoming. And fourth, patience. So much patience. The messy middle can last months, and there's no way to speed it up, no shortcut through it. The only way is through. A note about moving on. People will tell you to move on. Get back out there. The best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. Ignore this. You don't need to move on. You need to move through. There's a difference. Stage 3 is integration. And this one can be hard to recognize because it doesn't announce itself. There's no finish line, no certificate that says, "Congratulations, you're healed." Instead, you just realize things have shifted. What stage 3 feels like. You think about them, but it doesn't ruin your day. You might even think about the good times without immediately feeling that stabbing pain in your chest. You start making plans for your future that don't include them, and it doesn't feel sad. It feels like possibility. You run into them or hear news about them, and your body doesn't react the way it used to. Maybe there's a small pang, but it's manageable. It's just part of your story now, not the center of it. You realize you've gone days without thinking about them at all. And when you do remember, it's with a kind of gentle distance, like remembering a movie you once watched, rather than a scene you're still living in. What you need in stage 3. First, acknowledgement. You did it. You survived something you weren't sure you would survive. Take a moment to recognize that. Second, wisdom integration. What did you learn? About yourself, about relationships, about what you want your life to look like. Don't let this pain be wasted. Let it teach you. Third, openness. Not to rushing into something new, but to the possibility that your life can be full and beautiful and completely different than you planned. Sometimes the relationships we lose make room for the life we were meant to live. And fourth, self-compassion. Because even in stage 3, you might have moments where you slide back. A song might hit different, a memory might surface. And that's not regression, that's just being human. The truth about stage 3. You don't get over someone you truly loved. You integrate the experience. They become part of your story, part of what shaped you. But they're no longer the story itself. And that's not settling, that's healing. So where are you right now? Maybe you're in stage 1 and everything still feels impossible. If that's you, I see you. You're going to make it through today, and that's all you need to do. Maybe you're in the messy middle, having good days and terrible days and wondering if it will ever make sense. If that's you, keep going. The mess is part of the process. Or maybe you're in stage 3 and you're watching this because you remember what it felt like and you want to remind yourself how far you've come. Wherever you are, here's what I want you to remember. Healing is not linear. It's not neat. It doesn't follow the timeline you want it to follow or look like the healing you see other people posting about. Your healing is uniquely yours, and it's unfolding exactly as it should. This is Haven Space, a place for honest conversations about relationships, healing, and becoming who you're meant to be. If this resonated with you, subscribe so we can continue this journey together. And remember, you're not just surviving this, you're transforming through it. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to Haven Space with Elle Marie. More videos on healing and growth.